Hello, it's Duckfaden077 with another video. This time we are playing some John the Breach Saga. Okay, so this is one of my favorite decks. One of the pet decks I played from when one of the first decks after MH2 came out, and I really liked it. I was a Boomer John player before, but really liked the Zoomer versions. I really like the Saga and the grind that Vran plus Saga gets, and I just fell in love with those first versions, playing Dragon Rage channelers and. Along with Goy's Vren 6 and that really great graveyard interaction happening in this deck. And now we have two Underworld Breaches as additional graveyard interaction. So you can imagine just that this list will be sensitive to graveyard hate, and we need to make sure to get rid of graveyard hate immediately. So we have a lot of solutions. Of course, we are playing the discard spells. Those help a lot. We are of course playing one Hero Might in the main. If you have opportunity to play this in your deck, just play it. If you're in green, playing Saga, it's a great way to deal with graveyard hate in main or post board games with the Leyline bindings, fables, enchantments, artifacts are everywhere. Urza Sagas also, so really good option uh, for John Shell. Okay, so other than that, we have pulsators in the main, one in the side, some engineered explosives, Collagen's command. So just pitting needle also can be used on artifact graveyard hate. So really a lot of these tutorable recursive answers and some usual stuff too. Okay, so this is the usual Jan saga, but as, as you see in a lot of lists lately, I think this deck is very good positioned right now. I think it always was very strong. Before it was a bit underestimated deck in the format, but I really have faith that this deck can battle anything. I think it's even better now that four-color Omnat decks have fallen off a bit because it was probably a competition. It was probably a competition for with the players playing the mid range, so they have option to play this or John. This version is definitely more aggressive than the usual mid range versions. It's very close to the Murktide gameplay and just the usual Boomer John plays, but really a lot more aggressive with these channelers. As you can see in this deck, there are really long range of card types. It's very easy to get Delirium, just probably one, two spells you cast, you already have it. So very good spread of artifacts, instants, sorceries, creatures, planeswalkers, and six enchantments. So huge number of card types in this deck, and the Tarmogoyf is just shines in this deck greatly. And uh, yeah, so I think it's really powerful. I just played a league with it, ended up 5-0. Very felt very easy, very powerful, and also I played another deck, John the Shadow, which I got some similar deck decisions into it, but it's a bit more aggressive, and deck performed quite well too. I just finished a 4-1 league with it. So I'll do videos of both, comparison of those two decks and their power level. Of course, this one has more grind potential, but we'll see just how the Death Shadow deck is really playable once again, especially now in the format that doesn't have solitude all over the format, and even if you face solitude, you have some good options to deal with it. So we'll just check those out. Um, First, we'll focus on watching the gameplay video of 5.0 League with this deck, and there'll soon be the gameplay league of Junded Shadow. We watch both of those. So on the graveyard, on the sideboard, sorry, we have another Boseiju, as I said. A lot of one-offs because of Urza Saga. Second Nihil Spellbomb on the board. Great graveyard hate. The only one that gets rid of just opponent's graveyard and draws you a card, a really good one. So we have Pitting Needle, we have Pride Spellbomb, so we can deal some additional damage if needed of our saga, but also um, kill the pro-red creatures, which can be problematic if you're trying to win with Dragon Rage Channelers. So on Dragawan, then those Sanctifiers and Work are gonna be problematic, and Pride Spell Bomb is very good at dealing with those. Also, to trouble 2 damage of Saga, which can be really useful in the Hammer Time matchup, so it kills the Sanctifier, kills a creature with possible equip. Another graveyard hate piece, one of Unlicensed Cursed. We play one of because we already have 2 graveyard pieces, one in the main, one in the side of Nihil Spellbomb. Pitting Needle, very useful card in this Saga decks, especially against the Yagmo deck, but also has various other uses. Engineered Explosives is a very good card for this deck. Just it's an artifact, so you can stick it on the field, pump your construct tokens. It's very good against Rhinos, which are very popular now. It's great against Hammer Time, against Scales, and mostly against a lot of these artifact decks. And but also, yeah, it's okay, decent and against a shadow, a way to kill a shadow that not just push and terminate. Okay, so it can be also decent in some other aggro tempo matchups when you're playing on the draw and trying to catch up your opponent. Okay, so other than that, we have of course Giganta. And some non-artifact spells, 2 Alpine Moons and Boseiju as a land hate. Boseiju also, of course, can kill artifacts enchantments. Just one of Veil Summer. I feel like one of Veil is really good. I don't want to overboard against scam matchup. I have some additional cards for like a graveyard hate for it, and I think the matchup is okay, it's decent, so I don't want too much, but one veil it's very useful in the Grixis, Jund, and Ragdoll Scam matchups, but also can be used against control decks. So it's a versatile, very good card, obviously, but I want it just as a one-off here in this situation. So second Terminate in the sideboard, I really like the split, one in the main, one in the side. Don't like the two of in the main, but of course it can be played. It's a way in most situations to get rid of in today's meta game to get rid of the Murktides or maybe Ledger Shredder or opponent's Tarmogoyf. And other than that, we have Kolaghan's Command as additional artifact hate and the 2 Orvars dual form as the creativity hate, and we'll see that just how useful they were in this league. This is a grindy deck. It can be aggressive fast, but it's not in a lot of these situations. It's not fast enough to win against creativity consistently without some additional hate. So we are definitely packing the 2 Orvars, and yeah, okay. So let's just watch the league. Mana base is kind of usual. You see, I think this is it. Yeah. So we'll start with the match one. Match 1 playing second, keeping a decent hand, have Ragavan, have the Tarmogoyf, a Bolt Breach, Shadow Spear, a very decent hand. Okay, my opponent goes for Grief turn 1, they discard Bolt and Ragavan, still have Goyf for turn 2, but luckily top deck Bolt to kill the Grief immediately. Yeah, opponent wasn't happy, but yeah, it is what it is. I decide to go for the forest because they play the Blood Moon, and I want to get that forest if possible before they play it. So I play out my Saga. I play my Vren, get another land into the hand, and play the Shadow Spear. Unfortunately, I should have attacked before returning the land to get one additional damage, but it didn't really matter. It was my opponent didn't have answer for the Goyf after me killing their grief, so that's it. That was it. Okay, so keeping a decent hand again, but only 3 non-land cards. My opponent again starts with the grief undying, so they get rid of my 2 best cards at this moment. And I didn't draw as well this time, so I had I had the Vren 6. It wasn't doing much. At least with a double Vren, I was able to kill the Doughty, but still, unfortunately, my Vren didn't go to graveyard, so I did had problems getting the Delirium because of that. I survived on 1 life. So I had Boseiju for Blood Moon, so I didn't care much for it. And I was able to kill the Grief. I was able to kill the Grief, but I was on 1 life, so I wasn't able to cast my Giganta or anything, and which meant the game is over. So almost made it out, but didn't have a good top decks in the end, so there wasn't much chance to survive. So it was time for game 3. In game 3, I was playing first. That's much easier for me. Decided to ditch the swamp. Yeah, they play Blood Moon, but just trying to be really aggressive on the draw here. I'll go for forest at turn 2. Played my Goyf. I tried to attack with. Try to attack. Of course, when I drew a card, my plan changed. I decided to just kill the Ragavan and play the Spellbomb so they can do the scam stuff. In this situation, it was pretty good for me. I had only 1 green here, but I kind of had to go for the Goyf here. They went Blood Moon, but it was okay. I decided it was most important for me to hold the whale here, so I went to Giganta hand. My opponent had the Ragavan dash. Obviously, Pyromancer was very good for him here also, but I also got a decent draw. Shadow Spear for trample and lifelink on my opponent, on my Goyf. Once again, I had to let the Ragavan hit me. Fortunately, they didn't get much of my top. I played their Fable. So I played the Urza Saga to pump my Goyf. Urza Saga goes into graveyard, my Goyf grows to 6-7. So they decide to jump it with just 1 creature, so I'm able to finish the game with a bolt, and that's it. That was match 1 against my Ragdos Scam opponent. That top deck bolt on game 1 was the final difference between um, for this match, but of course I had the Goif in hand. There was still a match to be played even without the top deck. So okay, playing second here. Had multiple options here. Decided to go for the channeler. Okay, my opponent plays Ren, pings the channeler, but that's fine. I'm able to kill the Ren immediately, which can be relevant in the creativity matchup. So I had another land. So in this situation, sorry, I played Inquisition. I discarded one of the creativities, and then dashed the monkey and discarded the other one. So they played their Ren. So this was basically their hand at the moment, just to persist and some lands. I was able to play two of my Goyfs to pressure my opponent, and again get the Shadow Spear to get the damage through with my Goyf. So this time didn't play Ragavans, and my opponent had just bunch of lands in hand when a useless persist, and that was it. That was game one against creativity opponent. So I was able to kill them fast enough with some hand disruption. Um, okay, I had a very awkward game, but I thought kind of one land can make this hand pretty good. Also had multiple nickel spell bombs to hit their graveyard, also draw a card. So I thought I was pretty good in this position. I could have just let them reanimate the Archon, just play my Orvar, copy and try to win that way, but I decided to not do it like that. I unfortunately didn't draw a land here, so I wasn't able to play anything, just a spell bomb. Uh, Finally got that land, but it was just an Urza Saga. Still had that Orvar in hand, which was pretty good for me. I removed their graveyard again to draw a card, try to find something. Uh, didn't I didn't have much. So my opponent goes for the double Archon, but they don't have haste. So I was able to play the Orvar, get the token of the Archon. So on my turn, I was able to kill their Ren before attack. So I forced them to sack their other Archon, and I gained some life. And the draw card made them discard. Uh, and they passed the turn, so they would survive the 1-1 with the Archon attack. But I had the Shadow Spear to finish the game immediately, and that was it. Yeah. Okay, so Orvar won me this match very nicely, and it was match two. So it's time for match three against Electric Bob. Electric Bob is, like myself, I think a YouTuber, occasional streamer, who plays the black green rock deck very successfully, and it was the most fun game, definitely most fun game of the league. At game one, I was able to. I didn't get a land. Was stuck on one land for the moment. We just played a huge number of um hand hate, discarded all of our cards in this situation. Uh, I discarded Goif and Confidant, my opponent ran, and also my Goif. I had a very nice Ragavan of the top to be able to start doing something. So I pulled the Reclaimer and removed their graveyard, draw a card, again dash the Ragavan. My opponent had just gigantic hands, so there was no point um, in playing their what's it called, Inquisition. So we both playing off the top of our decks, but I had a better draw here. I drew into Underworld Breach, and Breach just finished the game. I was able to cast a triple bolt in this situation to immediately end the game before even attacking. So you can see just how good Breach can be in some of these situations. You just in a top deck war and you top deck the Breach and the game ends. So it's just a typical example of having a card in your deck that just finishes the game in this kind of situations in the top deck mode, which is very Gen style. Okay, so Decorate Channeler with triple Mishra's Bubble can be pretty good on turn 1. I had one lander, so I definitely needed the second land, and I went for first channeler, immediately find the Boseiju on top of my deck, so there was no point in playing the others. I kept them into hand in case they don't kill the channeler. I can do the surveil next turn again. Of course, they kill it, attack me for one, but I was okay. I found the land of the top. I decided to kill their reclaimer this way, so I was able to go for the Vren and the Bolt, Vren return land, Bolt the second reclaimer next turn. It seemed like the best way to do this. Okay, sorry, what's happening? Uh, Unfortunately, my opponent had a reclaimer ability, so my plan to go for land and play bolt didn't happen because they exiled my graveyard in response. But it's fine. I have to let them use that. I have to let them get the ability because I don't really have a choice. I got the brand on the field. It's important. What's happening? Just let's continue this game. Sometimes this happens. I don't know why. The replay just slows a lot, and yeah, they go for the Bajuka Bog, remove my graveyard. So in this situation, I hope to get. Just hope to get another land. This Boseiju is not the greatest. Not making me being able to double spell here. Maybe with a Shadow Spear, of course, but not the spells I really want. But still, I was able to uh, dash Ragavan and kill my opponent with Bolt. So I just really wanted to find that third line. So I just played the Channeler Shadow Spear here. My opponent plays the my opponent play. I was able to kill the Goif, but not didn't have mana to kill Confident. This the turn, so I decided it's best to let them draw one card. Okay, they got some. They got some cards. Sorry, the Inquisition wasn't doing much because of the bag of holding in this situation. So everything I discard from their hand gets below the bag of holding, and they can later pay for mana to get all these cards in the hand. So the bubble, the confident, the drum, everything will get back to their hand. I still had the good draws and had a pretty good chance to turn this game around. But bag of holding was kind of what decided this match. Sure, I had a Ragavan, but that was my only card in hand. My opponent will next turn get had Giganta, of course, but my opponent will next turn get 4 cards of the Bag of Holding. They can do the ability for 2 mana and put a card below it. So again, they put all these cards into their hand. Sorry, it was just a drum, confident, uh, a Mishra's Bubble, and a Bitterbloom Command. Pretty good amount of cards. The Bitterbloom Command can get them land from the graveyard, especially it's dangerous if they get the Urza Saga. Sorry, what's happening? Did it block again? And now it gets really tricky for me. They have a lot of cards in hand. Hmm. Why is this so slow? Don't really understand it. Not sure why this is happening, but it happens from time to time. Um, mm, it usually resums. I hope it will resum soon. I'll try to do this a few times. Okay, so anyway, it doesn't matter. This game was over soon enough. My opponent had 5 cards. In this moment, they used the Witterbloom command to kill my Ragavan and Shadow Spear, and that was it. So I conceded soon enough, and something happened. The game blocked. I wasn't able to show the game tree, the uh, rest of the match, but. Sure. Okay. Let's do this again. Make sure that everything is fine so we can continue watching this. Okay, so game 3, playing first, much better, having a great hand. I don't know, with this kind of hand, just it feels so hard to play against this. Also, drawing into Veil of Summer, it was a huge mistake from my opponent not killing not killing the Ragavan on their turn, and basically when I connected with Ragavan, it was pretty bad for them. But they had the Witterbloom command, which was just spectacular. At this point, killing both Run and Ragavan with 1 card, it's huge. It's really huge. Killing Ragavan and Run with for 2 mana, it's really just crazy. So my opponent decides to just play explosives on 1 to kill the channeler. So I'm able to attack with a large Goyf here and play the Alpine Moon, kill the Urza Saga, do some additional surveil triggers, uh, find from the top cards I want. Uh, so my opponent plays the Reclaimer, plays the Goyf, but it's really important in this situation to see what exactly can you do. I could have maybe missed the best way to deal with this, and I was able to remove their graveyard, making their go for 5/6, and that puts him into the unholy heat range. So I was able to just yeah like. Attack with Goyf after killing their Goyf, put them on 2 life with 2 reclaimers on the field. Pretty bad for them. My opponent again made a mistake. They didn't block the channeler. I was forced to attack with it. I couldn't decide not to attack with channeler. So I was forced to do this. But they didn't block the channel. They definitely should have done this. So my channel would be dead at this point. And my opponent played the needle. I didn't crack the fetch on purpose because I had the another land in my hand, and I was fine by my opponent naming the Bloodstained Mire. Didn't care about it too much. So I had another land in my hand. I was able to cast Giganta off it. Giganta was really important in this situation, and the goals were kind of small. Now, after the graveyard exile, and the Giganta was just a 5/5, and in this top deck 4, it just wins the game. My opponent can't block 3 creatures here, so that's game over. Okay, that was very tense games against Electric Bob, Green Black Rock, and we'll watch next game of the match number 4. Okay, again playing first, very good start. Being able to go the channeler for channeler, and then turn 2 run and 6, do the survey. I even got better off the top. Got a second channeler, so I decided to go for double surveil. Uh, make make my draws perfect for the rest of the game. Unfortunately, one one dies, but it's okay. It's getting my other channeler closer to Delirium, and I was able to just play the Wren next turn, kill the Wren with the channeler attack. Okay, so again, doing some surveils in this situation, just attacking, doing the pressure, holding the removal in case they try to go for the creativity. I don't know of what my opponent. Maybe I don't know if they went for Dwarven Mine. Maybe they forgot they have Swamp on the field or something. I'm not sure, but whatever. So I was fine by it. I got another bolt from the top of the deck. So I had the lethal. I just attacked them with everything. No blocks, and I was able to ping with Ren and finish them off with Bolt. And that's it. So turn 5 win. Played a lot of spells, so put a lot of cards into the graveyard. Find the card I need to finish the game. That's kind of what this version of deck does. It just tries to be aggressive. Uh, with the channelers, it has a large amount of card types, so Tarmogoyf also can be pretty aggressive when played on turn 2. On turn 3, it can often attack for 6 damage, so it's one of, maybe it's possibly the best Tarmogoyf deck in the format. Of course, playing channelers, playing all these spells, cheap spells, makes you able to play the Underworld Breach tech which is great with the Bolt and Mishra's Bubble. In this situation, also Fatal Push and Heat can clear the way for the final attack to finish off your opponent. But you saw in game before just how efficient was the breach from the top of the deck. And okay, so that's it. That was game 1 in the match 4 against my creativity opponent. Uh, this is how it goes with this deck. You're just able to do a large number of these surveils and find the card you need. Kept a pretty decent hand turn 2. At game 2, sorry, Inquisition, turn 1, this was my opponent's hand. They had the creativity, had the fable. I decided to get rid of their Ran, and I went for Dragon Ray Channeler, Nihil Spellball, but turn 2, immediately getting the Delirium. So you see how quickly you're able to do this. One artifact on turn one, and one scry, one surveil, sorry, into the Earth Saga, and Delirium is there. Okay, so I just really wanted for my opponent to use this creativity, so I just let them resolve anything, just pretend like I don't have two Orvars in hand, but Orvar is definitely a great card in this matchup, especially when you draw both of them. Against creativity, it's so crazy, so I'm able to play both of my Archons and then immediately have Leader for the next turn attack, and that's it. A pretty quick win against my creativity matchup with the two Orvars in game 2 on the draw. So this Orvar is so good against this deck that it's mostly very embarrassing uh, when you do stuff like this. Okay, so I definitely misplayed here. I accidentally just a brain like I would like to say brain farted for a second, got the swamp instead of the blood crypt. Okay, so I was able to, luckily to cast two of my the discard spells and discard both Yagmoth and Chord from my opponent's hand. So at this point they just had the mana dorks and the grist. Unfortunately, this mistake from turn one still bothering me because I wasn't able to cast my Ren for so many turns. If I was able to do this, uh, it didn't matter in the end, but I will be able to ping this Birds of Paradise early, try to complicate stuff for my opponent. Okay, so I got the Shadow Spear, equip Shadow Spear, finally successfully play my Renan 6, drawing into multiple sagas, so I'm able to make these constructs larger, and with the Shadow Spear, just trying to do as much damage as possible, also find the Nihil Spell Bomb. So I attack with everything, the Trampler goes on Grist, just want to make sure he's dead. I play the second Dragon, but my opponent top decks another Grist, which is perfectly fine because I have so many of these sagas. I can make these construct tokens a whole day, especially with the Ren on the field. So yeah, just continue making these constructs, and that was it. My opponent concedes. So it was time for game 2. Okay, so game 2, drawn into hand with a large number of removal, which is okay against Yagmo deck on the draw. It's fine. I play a lot of threats. I'm confident of finding one on time. Also, Mishra's Bubble, DRC help you find additional ones. So I went for the Totsis, discarded the Eldritch, and that was it. That was my entire opponent hand. And I saw the Yagmoth of top of their hand deck, so that's why I killed the Wall of Roots to get them further away from casting the Yagmoth. So they were were low on cards because I was able to get rid of the Eldritch with Totsis, and they mulligan to 5. So, like, I was able to go Giganta to hand. Whole push for Young Wolf. They still didn't have the third land, so it was pretty favorable situation for me. I was able to attack with Goif, Play the Giganta again, the free 5-5 from this command zone wins the game. I would be so slow if not for this Giganta. It's just very good in this mid-range type of decks where you can always play a longer game and so have a higher chance of putting this into your hand. Okay, my opponent plays the Geist, which is a pretty good blocker. He decides to go for the attack. I draw into Channeler. Had multiple options here. It was very good for me to go for attack here. Play the Channeler and hold both Terminate and Bolt. And Bolt gets me really close to lead her in lethal for next turn, while Terminate is great if they top deck the land to play the Yagmoth. Okay, so I had multiple options here. Obviously, could have gone for double kill on the Geist, but it wasn't really necessary. I just attack with everything, play another Dragon Rage Channeler. There's really no chance for them doing anything, so there wasn't need to go for the kill on the same turn, and that's it. So my opponent definitely didn't have resources to get out of this one after the mana screw on the first turn. So that was it. Okay, that was the entire league. Very very cool deck. I really like to play, and I played this a lot in the past after the MH2 came out. It was underestimated deck then, and I think it still is. Uh, so I just really like this low curve, very aggressive. Uh, very aggressive strategies with ability to make Goif huge on the early turns to get the Delirium fast for the channeler even after the Graveyard Hate. Uh, this Underworld Breach also is very good, especially in game 1 where your opponent doesn't have any Graveyard Hate. When you top deck this, you can pretty much play on it and count on it that will to win you the game, and it will never disappoint you. It's pretty good. Okay, so in the games 2 and 3, after you considering the matchup, considering the graveyard hate they have, you can always board out at least one of those. Sometimes two of them if you expect just a lot of the graveyard hate. But as I said, there are solutions for the graveyard hate like Hairwire Might, Boseiju, explosives, pitting needle, collagen's command. So a lot of options there for different matchups. They all work pretty well. So that's it. Breach was very good, and it directly won me those two matches. I drew them. Other than that, I didn't saw it much. Probably because in cyber games I had just one, mostly had just one in the main. So that's it. But really like the deck. Really like this the list like it is. This split of the heat, fatal pushes, and the bolt. We play three bolt. I definitely want most of the bolts out of all removal in this deck because bolt can go to face. It's never dead, and it's very good with the breach. You will very often really want to have bolt into graveyard with breach so you can finish off your opponent with it, like in the search situation I had in video. And it's very good with breach. Obviously the card you most often play at least once or twice with breach, other than Mishra's Bubble. Obviously Mishra Bubble is used with breach to get as you call it the fair breach, to get 3 4 draws for just zero for just 2 mana. So pretty good card advantage if nothing else. But often, like in this situation, it can be used to immediately kill your opponent or just end the game by too much value. Okay, so that's it. Hope you liked the video. If you want to help the channel, click the subscribe, click the like button, and that's it. I think the Electric Bob game was pretty cool, and the double Orvar against creativity was also great. And yeah, that's it. So until the next time.